cherry shrimp are super popular because they're so colorful, so cute, and unfortunately so delicious to many kinds of creatures. It seems impossible to find a fish that's not going to eat them, right? Not to worry, I'm going to cover 3 different categories of tank mates that will be safe to add to your cherry shrimp tank. Hi, I'm Irene from Aquarium Co-op, and I'm going to be straight with you. If you are looking to breed cherry shrimp, especially for profit, then you want to keep a species-only tank with only other Neocaridina shrimp in it. However, if the cherry shrimp are more like display pets, where a few babies here and there would be nice, then this list is for you. Just make sure to add like a pile of rocks or lots of dense aquarium moss and plants so that the babies have tons of cover. Final caveat before I get into the list is that all of these suggestions are try at your own risk, meaning that for every 10 people that say, yeah, this fish is totally fine, there's always at least one person going, no, don't do it. Category number 1 of tank mates that are safe for cherry shrimp are other small invertebrates. So things like a mono shrimp and ghost shrimp, they're pretty much the same size as cherry shrimp, so they're gonna get along just fine. You also have larger shrimp like filter shrimp. So that includes vampire or bamboo shrimp. They're not even scavengers. They're mostly focused on filtering any yummy particles from the water. I would say Thai microcrabs, super small, very cute and shy. I actually think I still have some in my main display tank, but I've honestly never seen them except for the molts on the ground here and there. And then finally we have snails. There are many popular varieties. We've got Nerite snails, mystery snails, Malaysian trumpet snails. All of those are going to be perfectly fine with your shrimp. The only caveat is that they may outcompete your cherry shrimp, so that if your cherry shrimp don't get enough food, they're probably going to not make as many babies. The invertebrates I wouldn't include with your cherry shrimp include things like crystal or caridina shrimp. They live in very different water parameters than cherry shrimp, so inevitably you're probably going to make one colony happier than the other, and that other colony is going to end up suffering. You also don't want to go with any kind of larger invertebrate. Things like long-armed shrimp, crayfish, lobsters, they are more than happy to shove any source of protein they can catch into their mouths. Category number 2 is vegetarian fish. Not that there are many fish that wouldn't turn down a free protein meal here and there, but things like algae eaters and off-wax grazers. So the number 1 fish that often gets mentioned as perfectly safe for cherry shrimp is autosynclus catfish, which are an amazing nano algae eater that you can find a care guide for over here. They're super peaceful and they are slower eaters in my experience. So even though they eat similar things as cherry shrimp, I don't feel like you'll have any problems with them outcompeting your cherry shrimp for food. Another off-wax grazer that's starting to become more popular in the aquarium hobby is the blue neon goby or other Stiphodon gobies. So they're really kind of small, eel-like, brilliant blue creatures that also have a mouth that is meant for scraping off algae off of rocks and plants. Very beautiful, very peaceful, should do well with your cherry shrimp. Finally, I would take a look at any small plecos that are primarily algae eaters or even the type that like to rasp on wood. So things like the clown pleco stays very, very small, very peaceful, should do fine with your cherry shrimp. Category number 3 is a mishmash of peaceful nanofish with really tiny mouths. So things like small tetras. The ember tetra is a great one. Green neon tetras. Both of them are very brilliantly colored, and I think would look absolutely gorgeous if you kind of pair it with a complementary colored cherry shrimp. Another great species would be micro rasboras. You often hear of people putting them with chili rasboras or the green neon kubutai rasbora. Again, very colorful, very tiny, very peaceful. A lot of people say that corridors are safe with cherry shrimp, but I guess if you really want to play it safe, you could go with some of the smaller species of cory catfish, like the pygmy corridors. Just remember that all the fish I've just mentioned are schooling fish, so they'll feel a lot more comfortable and be a lot more lively if you get a big old group of them, at least 6 to 10 of them. As for live bearers, you definitely want to stay on the smaller side, so things like Endler's live bearers. I definitely know some people who keep a 10 or 20 gallon tank where they call it their breeding for profit project. They've got guppies on the top making babies, cherry shrimp on the bottom they're breeding, and then a giant mass of Java fern that they can also sell for profit. Finally, I want to mention coolie loaches. They're this really cool eel-like oddball fish that usually has zebra stripes. Very peaceful. They tend to hide a lot during the daytime because they're nocturnal. I personally love them, but again, there are people who are like, no way, Jose, a loach is a loach. As for fish you should never put with your cherry shrimp, definitely avoid larger species. So things like goldfish, large plecos, rainbow fish, definitely no cichlids. I mean, you're basically feeding them the world's most expensive meal ever, right? But I would also avoid small fish that are big meat eaters. So definitely no to that benefish of yours in the corner. No to dwarf cichlids, to dwarf gouramis, and even peat puffers. I'm not saying it could never happen with the right conditions and the right personality, but it's like a 50-50 chance. You're basically flipping a coin here. I mentioned a lot of peaceful nanofish previously, but if they are really fast and voracious, I would still avoid them. So things like a school of hungry zebra danios or silver-tip tetras. I know they're a tetra, but I still wouldn't put them with cherry shrimp. And then I tried looking into small surface-dwelling fish, thinking, well, if they're kind of living more at this strata and then the cherry shrimp are down below, maybe they won't bother them, but didn't find any such fish that would be okay. Things like pencilfish, they said no, dwarf blue-eyed pseudomogil, rainbow fish, they said no, and then clown killifish. A lot of people were like, a killifish is a killifish. You're not gonna want them anywhere near your precious cherry shrimp. Best of luck on your search for the perfect tank mate. I hope you have a ton of fun with your cherry shrimp like I have. See ya!